For real estate investors, going mobile is the next big thing for managing our properties. We like to have the power and resources in the palm of our hand. When we're hunting for deals, we're consistently go, go, go. Having RentReady's property management app is great for checking in on all our properties, especially when it's time to collect rent. With RentReady, we get the benefit of both mobile and web apps that allow us to collect rent from anywhere. We not only get instant notifications when rent is paid, but we also have the ability to send automatic reminders to tenants when rent is due or late. From finding the perfect tenant to collecting rent, everything an investor needs to build wealth and manage their investing portfolio can now be found under one roof with RentReady. The most exciting news is that RentReady gave us an exclusive 50% off promo code that can now be used by all of our Weekly Juice listeners. You just need to visit rentready.com and enter the code JUICEPOD to get 50% off any RentReady plan. That is RentReady.com and enter the code JUICEPOD, JUICEPOD, to receive 50% off any RentReady plan.
Welcome to the Weekly Juice Podcast, where we discuss all things real estate, personal finance, investing, entrepreneurship, and the many ways to achieve financial independence. We interview accomplished investors and entrepreneurs with the goal that their stories inspire you to take control of your financial future. Here to get your creative juices flowing, while also documenting their own personal investing journeys, are your hosts, Corey Jacobson and Ryan Bevilacqua.
Welcome back to the Weekly Juice. As always, it's your boys Ryan and Corey here with another episode. Today we are going to do an episode with just us. We figured we'd give you a little recap of the last couple of months, where we're currently at, and then goals headed into the rest of the year. We're about halfway through the year, so
halfway year mark.
Yep. So couple things we're going to chat about in this episode. We're going to talk about joining a mastermind, obviously our goals, then the state of the union or state of the affairs on our Live Free Hospitality company and where we're at, and I guess the goals moving forward with that. And then state of the market, basically talking about what we think with rates going on right now, where we see, that short-term rentals moving in the future, just our personal take on things.
Yeah, exactly. Should be a shorter episode, but I figure that as we get halfway through the year, we want to just give you guys that, what's going on with us and what we're looking to do the rest of 2023.
Cool. So let's start out. I think the number one thing is we've been through about 160 episodes, and you guys have heard us talk about the importance of networking, building relationships, and, meeting others essentially to scale faster and grow more quickly. So with that, we decided to finally take the plunge, and we joined a mastermind. As you've probably heard us talk about, we really wanted to join Go Abundance, which is a mastermind that kind of, it's all encompassing. It helps with family, health, travel, obviously leisure, and then business. All
items. There's like 8 pillars, I believe, or 6 pillars. Bucket list items is on there too. You mentioned adventure. So it's like it's not linear with just business, right? Exactly. It's trying to help you become an all-encompassing better person, which we liked, and we didn't want to just jump into something that was super niche down onto, maybe like flipping or wholesaling, right? We wanted something all-encompassing. However, there's a caveat with joining that, and it is you have to be an accredited investor. And I think it might have even jumped up a little bit more. It used to be $1 million net worth, which is the accredited investor kind of threshold, right? Yeah. But now it's $2 million. Ryan and I are not there yet. So we joined the, it's like the sister program, but it's like the lead into.
Yeah, they call it an ascension program. So basically, once you graduate from this, I think there's actually a middle tier too, and then you jump up to Go Abundance. But what we joined is Emerge, and Jamie Gruber hosts this. He's awesome. You probably heard him a couple episodes back, and if you haven't, I would definitely go listen to that. His episode talks about just the benefits of masterminds, getting closer with people that have like-minded aspirations and goals to you. And so we had Jamie on the show, and we already were thinking about joining Go Abundance and potentially Emerge. And we were sold after talking to him because he's running the show, and we kind of really bought in because of him.
That's March 22nd. I don't know why Apple doesn't show the number anymore, but Jamie Gruber, March 22nd, he left the $350,000 a year job to pursue this entrepreneurial journey, and now he runs Emerge. He runs Emerge, and then new members for Go Abundance. So sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
And Jamie actually, he had this goal. He's originally from Michigan, and he had a really high paying, I believe it was a sales job, and as Corey mentioned, over $350K, and he decided to leave it and pursue this benefiting others. He obviously moved into real estate investing, which is very key, but also he wanted to help others. And he realized there's so many people out there that are chasing financial independence. A lot of people want to get into real estate investing, entrepreneurship. And he's like, how can I bring this all together, right? So he now hosts a podcast called the Tribe of Millionaires podcast, which kind of parlays into GoBundance, Emerge. There's a lot there. If you guys want to go take a look, do your research. But Jamie's the man. We bought in because of him. I believe we pay $500 a month. So we decided, hey, listen, like when we make our next chunk of change, we're going to invest in ourselves. We kept talking about, let's just find the next deal. They don't come every month or every week, right? So we decided to invest in ourselves, and it's been great so far. We're about 2 or 3 weeks in. The breakdown of what we do, is we meet every Tuesday at a certain time, and there's a bunch of people in there. I think maybe 25 to 50. Yeah. And you do little small breakout groups, and really what you're doing is you're updating people on the state of your business, your life, where you're at, where you want to be, and what you want to be held accountable for. And you could tell it's definitely the stepping stone to the big dogs. We've gone in there, and there's a lot of people that are way further ahead than us. Then there's others that are way behind, and it's just cool to crack heads and talk about the different things that are going on in people's lives. And some of it is just to learn on the struggles that people are going through. And you realize every entrepreneur is going through very similar things, some going through worse, some going through better. But it's very cool to go through the process and realize there's other people out there chasing the same thing.
Absolutely. Once we broke out into you go into breakout groups and your Tuesday calls, and then you have calls. There's calls like every day. It's just whether or not you can join them. And then you break out into a pod, this pod is like your little tribe that you meet with. You can kind of create the cadence of how often you want to meet. But in the pod, there's like something called a one sheet. And I just want to describe this because everyone is sharing their own, and it's breaking down each person's individual life from, personal goals, from spiritual contribution, personal growth, intellectual, relationships, your environment, financial, investment, material, family, lifestyle, adventure, health, and nutrition. So that's why I loved it the most, because it's like, I want to make sure that I can be just a better person, better individual, not just a better business person. So we kind of already said that, but we really like the merge so far. $500 per person per month. And it's kind of this ongoing process where our goal is to just try to give as much value as we can to as many people as we can. I've already kind of created some connections. Somebody was looking for a graphic designer, and I was like, oh, I know plenty of graphic designers. Connect them there. Somebody runs like a business coaching program, and I want to learn how to get into coaching. So there's this give and take, and I can already feel the mastermind. Like, as long as you go in there with this authentic, genuine, like trying to help people, it's already starting to pay some dividends for us.
Yeah, I think the mantra behind it is give more than you take, and then it just kind of everybody's giving, and you're automatically going to get what you put in, right? So it's fun so far. It's been great. The main thing about the pods, I think, is to crack heads on what's going well, what's going bad, but it's the accountability factor, right? There's homework every week, and I don't want to give too much behind the scenes. Jamie would probably get mad because we're giving up all the secrets of the group, but it's something awesome. We love it. If you have any questions, drop us a DM on it. We're happy to. There's no affiliate or any crazy thing like that. We're just genuinely excited about it. We're in the June class. I don't know when the next opening is. There's a wait list at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. We'll keep you guys posted. We're excited about it, and it's already helped drive us forward a little bit in our business.
Yeah, just consider when you try to join your own mastermind, if you're going to do that, just consider what you really want to get out of the mastermind. And Ryan and I thought about it in the way we want to we've already said this, but like just become better people and elevate our lifestyles and get in rooms with people that are making significantly more than us, doing significantly more than us. So there's a ton of masterminds out there. Emerge is just the one that we settled on. We've probably met with 3 or 4 people. I know M1 is another mastermind. And then there's other like micro masterminds, like you mentioned, with like flipping or wholesaling or buying rentals, but we didn't want to stay that granular. So it's been great to us so far. Again, we're only a couple weeks in, but we have been like self-deprecatingly talking about this for so long, like, oh, when are we going to join one? And we did. So that's why we wanted to have this episode. It's like, we set a goal for ourselves to join our mastermind in 2023. We accomplished it in month 6. So pretty cool. Yeah. And then to talk about that, like being halfway through the year, did you want to move on from the mastermind stuff?
Yeah, I'll let you take over. I just want to say, if you want to read a book that basically is like the foundation of Emerge and GoBundance, it's called Tribe of Millionaires, and it's a black background with gold lettering. I forget exactly the author. It's one of the heads of It might be Pat Hiban. It's one of the heads of GoAbundance that wrote the book, but our boy Diego Corzo, he was back on I think episode like 54, but way back. He's featured in the book. Well, his story is, they don't mention his name directly, but
Did you just remember that episode?
I think it might be 54. I don't know. If it is, I'll be hyped because that came out of nowhere. Don't check. Okay. I might be off on that, but look up Diego Corzo. He was on with Felipe once and then once by himself. Great guy, but he's also featured in a lot of the book. So Tribe of Millionaires, read that. And then if you have questions, let us know. But yeah, let's talk about halfway through the year goals and what we're seeing.
Well, this episode is going to be coming out probably the last week in June. And I just thought about it like, well, we're halfway through the year and there's a kind of an accountability factor that I want to hold us to. And then maybe people that are listening, like, halfway through 2023, I remember thinking in October, September, like, oh, 2023 is going to be such a big year. And it doesn't get big unless you make it big. And there's a lot of noise out there about like uncertainty in the market and this crash and recession. And it's like, we're already halfway through the year and the sky hasn't fall. Like, it hasn't fall. Like, are you, I'm talking like our audience, like, are you doing something and kind of pushing the noise aside? And that's what I felt like has brought us like more success. As we haven't had a ton, but just like stepping stones to success, because I'm not paying attention to like what people are saying. And they're like, oh, Q3 is going to be terrible. Q4 is going to be terrible. It's like, dude, like, I can't control that. Let's just keep moving forward. And I set out the goal to buy a property in the Tampa market in 2023. I did that in May. So that was great. We also were going to become GPs on a apartment syndication with a partner of ours, do some marketing, some capital raising, some deal analysis, some underwriting. So that is kind of something that's underway that we're moving towards. That will probably happen by the end. It will definitely happen by the end of the year. So that was a goal we set out for ourselves, joining a mastermind. So we're kind of ahead of it. I want to think more towards the back half of 2023. Like, what does that look like? But it's just kind of a cool reset to think like, look, we're already halfway through this year. It's flying by for me. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean,
well, definitely for you.
I can't even believe it. Well, we've also been through some shitty things too. Like we, the house burned down
in February.
Our duplex. We finally got the insurance check, paid off the mortgage, and now obviously invested some of that into ourselves, which we talked about.
Yep.
But when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? Yeah. There's just ebbs and flows, right? It seems like everything on social media, right? Everything's always going well for people, but it's important to say, certain stuff happens. So I think those are good to touch on. It's interesting. We're trying to figure out yearly, and this is, I'm curious on listeners too. It's funny, like, think about this yourselves. Like, what do you have going on for the next 6 months? And if the first 6 flew this fast, the next 6 are going to fly probably even faster. So Russ, Corey and I were going through it, and it's actually funny. I'm going to bring it back to Emerge, and it made me think about it. We go through, when you're filling out your one sheet, there's also another factor to it where it's a net worth tracker. And it's really cool because for me, I didn't even realize how close I was to, like, where our goal is to become millionaires, right? And we didn't set a real date.
I set it by the end of 2024, and I'm definitely going to hit it. And you're going to hit it before that.
Yeah.
So
close. Yeah. So I think to put it on paper was huge for me because we were going through it, and I actually had no idea my number. And
that's the difference between Ryan and I. It's like, I know my number every single day, and Rye's just like, wait, oh shit, I'm really close. Which is,
I know. Well, because there's certain things I did, like I factor in like liquid cash, right? But not that I didn't factor in the assets and divide them in half and all. Like I should, right?
Yeah.
Now it's great to have it.
And our ownership in multiple businesses.
That was the big thing.
Yeah.
It was the ownership in the businesses that I didn't factor in and didn't really know how to evaluate. We went through, and it's great. So needless to say, we're closer than we thought. And I would encourage others. The reason I'm bringing this up is to put it down, write it on paper. You might already be there, or whatever your goal is, but put it down so that way you can hold yourself accountable. What gets tracked gets measured.
Yep.
And I wasn't doing that.
And I think it's what gets measured gets done. That's completely made up.
That sounds good,
but it sounds good, doesn't it?
That's great.
I don't think that's what it is.
We track our income and our expenses, right? And hey, this is what I come out with at the end of the year, at the end of the month, and it's easy to kind of track where you can dump certain things. And we're going all over the place here, but obviously making those contributions automatic into your 401k, stock fund, or your whatever it's
brokerage.
There you go. Yeah.
Roth.
Yeah. Also, life insurance is huge. I was talking to another gentleman yesterday. I do this too. There's kind of gimmicky, but there's a gentleman named Chris Crone. I really like his style, but he talks a lot about life insurance and how you can use cash value, and it's almost like infinite banking. There's a lot of guys out there that do this. A lot of financial.
Candidly, I don't do it, but
Yeah,
I know.
it's been great. There's a lot of nuances to it, and you need the right planner to help you guide it. But it's essentially you're building up a cash value, which is essentially just like a side savings account for yourself, and you can pull off of your future life insurance policy, and you don't have to pay yourself back, which is insane. So long story short, look into that if you will. But it's helped. All of these things, right, have been set automatically, so we don't think about them monthly, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Is like you don't realize that they stack up over time and compound, and you get closer to your end goal. But what's really helped us get there is the real estate, and it's funny, just like as time goes by, your tenants are paying down your loan. You have obviously the tax benefits, but we were realizing the equity we have in certain properties and also the property going up in value. Like, wow, like this is the key. And then for us, we had shiny object syndrome. We went a couple different directions. You guys have heard us. I'll talk about them. So we just, hey, let's just pick our lane. It's helped us, like, once you are an expert at one thing or that one lane, just keep driving forward and try to ignore the noise. And we had to go through it personally to figure it out, right? And everyone does. And it's funny, we're just bringing this onto you guys. Like, we found our lane is real estate, and there's a couple different avenues within that. So we're just going to stick towards that. I think what's really going to help set us off is like our two main goals moving forward. We can get one long-term property together every single year. One. Obviously, that's
not like a single family, but like a multifamily. Yeah,
multifamily, but either just one property in the long-term portfolio, and then complete one big syndication deal. We will be in an amazing spot. And then at that point, every time a syndication ends upon a refi or sale, you'll have a lump sum of cash, and we can reinvest into another property in our long-term portfolio, or we jump into another syndication. Same thing goes with the long-term. Maybe you drive rents higher, maybe you sell it, XYZ. There's a lot of exit strategies, but we've heard flipping, wholesaling. There's a million different real estate verticals you can go. And so we've picked our two that we think we're gonna stick to moving forward. But those are our, like, every year, hey, if we can do those two things, we'll be in an amazing spot.
Yeah, I wanted to mention what you said about the power of, like, writing something down. It does sound gimmicky, but I can confidently say that any of the goals that we have achieved was due to writing them down and, like, looking at them at a significant amount of time. So it kind of trains your brain to know what to go do. It's really weird. Like, I don't know how it works, but for me, it's worked. Like, I wrote down the goal of trying to buy this property. It happened. Like, and now I'm putting in the work on the side, but I think that if I don't consistently remind myself to do it by visually having it written, I'm not sure if it happens that way. I think life hits you. You forget. But there is something about speaking it into the universe and having something written and that you can go back to. And, like, part of the Emerge thing was to write our 3 to 5 year plan. Like, what does our life look like in 3 to 5 years? And it was really, really cool because it was challenging. I was like, it's back to, like, what do I like? Like, what do I want to do? I figured all that out, but it took me this clarity break of sitting and writing and, like, trying to figure it out. And a lot of people are going through the motions, like, trying to build wealth. And it's like, if you can't think about what you're even trying to do it for, then it's kind of pointless. It's kind of useless.
Yeah, that's really cool to bring up because we don't do these exercises together, right? It's like your homework, and it was the clarity moment was, hey, write down what your future looks like as if you are that person, right? So it's not like, hey, what I want to be. It's like you're in the present of, like, say 35-year-old Ryan or 35-year-old Corey. Like, what does your work look like? What does your home office look like? What does your home look like? Who are the people around you? What are you doing? And it's weird. You just go to this place, you're like, that makes you literally say exactly what you want. And those are, it kind of goes to the next step of goal setting and how to get there, and baby steps along the way. And it drills down from a year to a month to a week to a day. So that way you have tangible things you can check off your list every day. I will say something we've been doing forever is, or at least I have, and I assume you have too, because you're type A, but I have a list every single day of things that I need to accomplish. And it's funny that, like, people that don't attack their day with lists, it's very hard to remember all the things you have to do and things you want to accomplish. And then you just get in the cycle of day starting, day ending, day starting, day ending, and you don't really get anywhere. So for us, not only do I do it on a note sheet on my phone, and then Corey and I have a shared one, but I also have one, like a handwritten one. I think there's a lot that goes down to, like, training your brain to writing things down. I wasn't writing my goals down. I was writing my tasks to do every day and, like, big projects that we have to accomplish. And that's why we do, but some take a little bit longer than they should because you don't set a deadline on them. So I would say set a tangible deadline, set a tangible goal, but then also don't forget to not only write your tasks, but write your goals down and see them. And Corey has a whiteboard that he looks at every day, and it has, like, his big goals on it. And it reminds you, back to what he was saying, is, like, subliminally, the universe like makes things happen when you're just like, you're focusing on what you need to do every single day. Even if you're not drilling, like staring at it, you know it's there and it's kind of hovering over you until you can erase it from the board. So yep, super important to write things down. That's kind of the mantra there.
Totally, man. That clarity of like where you want to go. It's hard to get to a place if you don't know where that place is. So the mastermind has helped us because we're talking with people who are already in the place that we want to be in. And then also there's people in it who are not at our level. And it's like this whole community of bringing people up. So that's been a lot of fun. But I also want to talk about the Live Free Hospitality and the progress that we've had in 2023 with the business. We started 2023 with 75 units under management. As of this is the end of June, we have 110 units under management. So we've grown it by 30-ish%, which is great. Our goal is to get to 150 by the end of 2023. And we've brought on a lot of investors that are seeing great returns. And we've talked to probably 6 or 7 different people that are either in the episode that came out this last week, Airbnb data, or syndicators, or just people that are investors across the country that are talking about the Pocono market being like, everyone's loving the Pocono market. So that has been cool because Ryan and I have helped with the kind of the networking and the marketing and getting the Live Free Hospitality. Check it out on Instagram at Live Free Hospitality Instagram brand off the ground. We redid the logo, and now we have this kind of this cool image, digital resume, this brand identity that we're showing people. Like, this is what we're doing. Do you want to be a part of it? But I'm proud of what's going on with Live Free Hospitality. I would say that shout out to JD Dempsey at Live Free with JD. He's the catalyst. That dude is riding the horse every day. So he's the one who's actually boots on the ground operations. Ryan and I are helping owners, but helping from a networking and marketing standpoint. And I'm just really proud of that dude because he's a workhorse. Like he really puts in the work, and he's such a good person, and that's why we want to be in business with him. So I'm proud of our progress with that, I would say. And the management aspect, and Rye's been working hard on putting like these little like QR codes in each of the apartments, each of the rooms. He created our website, the Live Free Hospitality website, and a number of other things that I'm sure you can mention, but what is going on in the background?
Yeah. No, you covered that pretty good. Corey and I, as he mentioned, we're kind of spearheading the marketing and investor relations. There's a lot to it, but marketing and sales are, some people say they're one and the same. For us, it kind of has met, but really we've rebranded Live Free Hospitality, and that we wanted to make basically a digital resume that when people come to see, they see the logo, they see the Instagram, and they're like, whoa, these guys really have it together. And not only from like a branding aspect, but when you go and you want to work with another company, the first thing that people do these days is they look on social media, right? See if you have a handle, see if you have a website. And if that's top notch, that's immediately like a soft welcome into the business and says, oh, like, okay, I'm open to having a conversation with these guys. And then from there, it's like, okay, how does the team run? And that's, what JD really handles it's amazing. There's a full team of not only cleaners, but contractors. He lives at one of there's a 43 unit resort there, and they're flipping the units to luxury cabin type feels every single day. And like, it's just, the boots on the ground is unbelievable. And the hospitality aspect's what we're really focusing on too. They have under a 3-minute response time to any guest inquiry. And there's other like little side packages they offer for free, which is like anniversary, birthday, little things where you get the front desk feel of a hotel, but even more. And so that's really our mantra. And what we're doing is now we're revamping, the website's live, but we're revamping it now to update the copy and really have it be our brand identity and kind of tell the story of who we are. And then, outside of Live Free, like our goal, as Corey mentioned, is probably to get to 150 units at the end of the year. And we'll see where it goes from there. But profits are starting to come in. We're starting to see... the goal is really to make carve a niche for ourselves and kind of take over the Poconos in our own way. But we eventually will be able to trim out some of the I wouldn't say the lesser performing units, but some of the ones that aren't as luxury and close to lakefront. And we call it a buy box for when we're looking for our investment properties, right? But for within the business now, I'll call it a buy box. We have a really specific unit type and amenity type that we're looking for, essentially, so that way we can help elevate our entire business as a whole and drive more revenue. So there's a lot of things there, but we're excited to where it's gotten so far. We're also working on a website for Corey and I. It's called Juice Enterprises. That's our brand and our business now moving forward. But I don't want to give it away. We're not officially launched yet, but probably within the next episode or two, we'll be live. And it's going to be essentially a hub for people to go on, and you'll be able to find a lender. If you're looking for a lender for your real estate transactions, you'll be able to see what we're doing for live-free hospitality, whether you want to buy a short-term rental in the Poconos or if you already have a portfolio or a couple of units, maybe it's one, we can take that under management for you and help out with that. Then also, we're getting into, as I mentioned, syndication deals. So there'll be things moving forward in the future. We're building an investor list. So you'll let us know whether you're accredited or not. And we'll have specific deals catered to each. And then you'll be able to just check out every single podcast episode that we have, not having to go directly to Apple or Spotify. It'll be right on the website. You can go to our YouTube page, go to our social media channels. It has literally every single thing you possibly want.
And it's pretty cool.
We're really proud.
Rye has really spearheaded that project, and he's so much more of a perfectionist than I am. I would have already launched it already, but he is going every little detail, which is making it really, really nice. Like every time I look at the website, it just looks I'm so proud of it because it really does tell our story, and it's exciting. So, and I understand, it wasn't a knock on you. I understand why you want to have it that way. So it's, we're not really ready to launch it for a number of reasons, but I would say within the next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, July should be good to go.
Launch. So there's a little bit of a state of affairs there, and then to wind down the episode, I kind of wanted to just talk about the market in general and what we think's going on and what our plans are. And I wrote this down to talk about because within the last week or so, Dallas, Texas has banned short-term rentals, just completely banned it altogether in the city. And I guess it's within the city limits. I haven't looked too deep into like the ins and outs of it, but I'm wondering, what we think that means for short-term rentals in general. And my opinion of it, which is just opinion, not fact. I don't have any real, it's just a feel of doing this for a little bit. I think the big cities like Philadelphia, Atlanta, Texas, Dallas, San Francisco has already happened there. But bigger cities where you're not going for a vacation destination, I think they're cracking down on short-term rentals because, one, it's driving up home values to the point where people that live in that area are having a hard time getting funding or buying a property, which, by the way, I understand. I think that there's a crisis. There is a problem of affordability in housing in the United States. And I think that some of these regulations need to happen, but I wouldn't look at it and freak out like there's going to be widespread regulation, because the tourism and hospitality business in America is a major economy. So, it depends where you're looking. Like, if you're looking in, and a lot of it has to do with the politics too. Like, so that's part of it. Like in New York City, you're not going to be Airbnb. Like it's just kind of
also Miami too. Wasn't there some regulations with hotels?
If there's a lot of lobbyists for hotels like Miami, you can do Airbnbs in Miami, but it's very hard, and the regulations have cracked down because the hotels own the marketplace. So just when you're looking at a market, look at a market that probably, my suggestion would be, already has some sort of regulations in place because they know that they want Airbnbs. But if there's no regulation at all and it's the Wild West, I think that area is going to get flooded with, if it's a great destination, it's going to get flooded with people. And then maybe they will crack down significantly harder than they would if it was already a destination that people travel to and there's some sort of regulation in place, which is why I like Tampa. I like a lot of the Florida market, Orlando. People are constantly traveling there for whether you're going to the beaches, you're exploring the town, or you're going to Disney World in Orlando. Like, people are always traveling there and they want that hospitality. Disney is like its own economy within Orlando. So there's certain places that I would say we love the Pocono market. I'm not sure what's going on with like Joshua Tree in California, because I know that there's, assuming they're not banning everything there like they did in Dallas, but I know there's some regulation in California that is changing things. So, the politics and that comes into play, but that would just be my 2 cents on what's going on. I think for a city to ban it outright, I'm not sure that's the solution. I don't think that'll solve the problem, but when you underwrite deals, you want to make sure that you're underwriting for short-term and then medium-term rentals, which works in a lot of places, but you won't make as much money. So I did that for my property. It's like, I'll make X amount if it goes to the short-term route, but I'm near a hospital, I'm near a university, I'm near a desirable area where people would want to, people that are retired too would also want a vacation there for multiple months at a time. So that's why you just have to do your research, and there's going to be regulation changes significantly across the country, even more, but not widespread. It'll be very localized. So that's my 2 cents there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just navigating the times, right? There's always things that are constantly changing within the world, and I think as long as you are ready to adapt and you have an exit strategy, you'll be all set. That it just goes back to when you originally buy the property, just make sure you're buying it right so that you have a few options. You're not just buying it strictly for a short-term rental, because then you might be, things could happen. But it is regional and market dependent. We talked to John Bianchi last week, and
That was awesome.
yeah, it was a phenomenal episode. And he's known as the Airbnb data guy on social. That's his handle. But he is head of data for, I believe it's called TechVest, but
TechVester, yeah.
TechVester, yeah. And so he basically underwrites data, studies markets and all of the regulations almost on a daily basis. And so he gave us a glimpse of like what he sees as the state of the affairs and how he sees things changing in the future. Obviously, no one knows for certain, but he mentioned it's regional and what he's seeing. And I would just listen to that episode. It dives deep on the data of short-term rentals, and that helped kind of frame our minds a little bit too moving forward and gave us a little peace and solace into the future of short-term rentals. But within that, he also mentioned how strong the Pocono market is. And there's a lot of different HOAs in there, which is essentially just like places that, like a gated community where properties are located in.
Different communities.
You have to just navigate and guide. But if you are interested in short-term rental, I will say, I know we chatted about this before. We talked about JD and the business. We do have a link in our bio on Instagram, and it's basically an investor questionnaire about if you're interested in us managing a property for you or getting one of your own. We're happy to have the conversation with you and maybe introduce you to JD. So take a look at that. We've had a lot of people DM us reaching out, and there's actually decided to make a Google form. So it's super easy. You guys can fill it out and we'll book a time. And happy to help out anyone that wants to take the plunge. We've already had a good number of people jump in, and the market's booming right now. So we're excited about it. And in general, just excited to have short-term rentals in our portfolio because it helps us diversify and stabilize a little bit in a different way from our long-term.
Absolutely. And if you're not looking in the Pocono market, which is understandable too, where Live Free Hospitality isn't in every market, I would just say to make sure that you check with property managers. You can manage it on your own if you follow somebody like the young retiree at 33, that's Travis Zappia. He's great. He manages all his properties remotely on his own. You can do it, but check with property managers in the area that you're going to invest, because they're the ones that have the boots on the ground, that are going to understand the regulations and hopefully not lead you astray with your specific investment. So I also would just let people know that, when you invest in a short-term rental, think about it for the long term too, especially if you're buying. Don't just think about it for the immediate cash flow. Like, are you buying in an area that's appreciating? Are you buying in an area that's going to have growth? Will you see the long-term normal real estate benefits, not just the short-term? Like, I think it makes sense for people to buy a short-term rental that cash flows $500 a month now. Like, I don't think that that's far-fetched if you're in an area that's emerging and ascending. So just keep in mind the days of, $80,000 in cash flow on a short-term rental with rates, with appreciation, they're likely gone. Yeah, I would say they're pretty much gone. So it's like, just temper your expectations, and retiring off to Airbnbs is like, it's still possible. Anything is possible if you figure out a creative way to do it, but it's very, very hard. So just temper your expectations and get in with the steady return, the ability for you to go travel to a place that you can stay there whenever you want because you own the property. So I love that model, and I've implemented it into our business and my life. And it's all I'm saying is that 2021 to now has just, things have changed.
It's changed. I would say there are properties out there that you can find for a high profit margin. They're far and few between, right? But it takes, if you look at, for example, Michael Elefante, we had him on way back, but he generates a crazy amount of revenue in his properties.
Also started in 2018, I think, or 2017. Like,
he did, but he's still cranking, which is great. And it goes to amenities, and he's scaled up properties. So he's a good follow. We have a good episode with him as well. But also to bring back last week's episode with John once again, he talks about all the data points and the products that he has, that it's like essentially like a map of the area, and it'll tell you which properties within that market should see the highest revenue. And then even further from there, what amenities you should put in to compete with people even further. So there are ways, when I'm saying this is like a regular mom and pop going into it with figuring like, hey, I'm just going to buy a property and I'm going to list it on Airbnb. That is impossible. Do not do that anymore. There are so many nuances, from the photos to the listing to the cleaning management to the amenities within the property, constant communication. There's so many facets to this. I was actually talking to my cousin about this, and he actually just got a short-term rental in Cape Cod, which an amazing price he got. And he was just like, yeah, you know, I think I'm going to do this on the side and manage it. I was like, dude, knowing how busy you are, and he flips homes and does a lot of things, it's going to be a daunting task and almost not worth him managing by himself. So we're going to find a property manager for him to help manage everything and set things up so he can, it's almost like a set it and forget it kind of thing. Because just know, if you are going into short-term rental, you want to manage it on your own, you are basically running your own business. And people say, oh, it's only an hour and a half a week, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. There's a lot of things. You need to reframe the pricing. You need to talk to guests whenever they have an inquiry. And like, you can set up as many systems as you want, but it's more work than you think. And I just want to take the shiny object out of it, because we found that out firsthand, and we tried to do it on our own a little bit, and then we jumped in with JD, and it's been light years better. So that was my putting a bow on top of it. Just know what you're getting into.
Absolutely. I just want to thank everyone who's like, it's sentimental in a way. I want to thank everyone who's listened we've done this is 167 episodes. Like, it's just pretty cool. And I know we have some people out there that love listening to the show. So thank you so much. If you would be so kind to leave us a rating, review, Apple, Spotify, it really helps us. Check out our YouTube. We're growing that slowly. This has just been so much fun for Ryan and I love chatting with people in the DMs. I apologize if we haven't gotten to people. We get a lot of messages, but reach back out again if we haven't. And just, we're happy to chat. I always want to try to bring value, and I love doing these one-on-one episodes because it gives you a peek and insights into what we're doing, and not to brag or anything, just to really hopefully what we're doing is helping you in your journey in some way. And that's really our goal, the reason we started this whole thing. So we just want to say thanks for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in this week to the Weekly Juice Podcast. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and share with friends. The more ratings we get, the more ears we'll get on our show, and in turn, we'll be able to provide you with more high-quality guests. You can also find us on Instagram at Weekly Juice Pod, where we post daily tips and tricks and document our own journey towards financial freedom. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday to get your weekly juice.